Tech Institute. My name is Edison, and we are going to continue our lecture on the Python programming language. Um, in this module, we've been looking at some of the advanced data structures in Python, and we delved specifically into the list data type of Python, and we talked about what the list data type is, and we said the list is like a container where you can have items or elements being stored, and these items are separated from each other by commas and they are enclosed in square brackets. We also looked at some of the different methods of the list data type, like the append, like the extend, among others. Today we are going to be looking at a few more methods of the list data type. We looked at the count method, the sort method, the reverse method, and the clear method, and we are going to be doing it a bit different following the feedback that we got from students and viewers and other trainees. It's important that we see how we can practice some of these methods just within our Jupyter notebook, not going through the lengthy slides that we always go through before returning to the Jupyter notebook. So we handle everything within our Jupyter notebook. Okay. So we are going to begin with the count method. Before then, I already defined some list here. We have a variable called x in which we've stored some elements. Let's assume that you work in some recycling company and there is some bulk material that has to go through a shredder, and then the different elements or the different components from that bulk are being separated and the data is being entered, and you as the data scientist or the data engineer is now being employed to extract useful information from that data. Yeah, so let's assume that this list, which consists of these elements, you could see copper, aluminum, there is also plastic, there is also some trash, and this is another list which I defined. They could represent anything, so you can also define your own list. It could be just a list. We said a list, to define a list is you have the different components, different elements that are within a square bracket and separated by commas. So this is another list which I created. We can call this, is stored in a variable called y, and these are weights, and the weights have been defined. And now we're going to use these this list as examples to see how we can manipulate, how we can navigate through some of these different methods. We begin with the count method, and we say the count method gives you the possibility to determine the number of times that a specific items will appear within our list. So it actually determines the frequency of a specific item within the list. Let's see how we implement this practically. Okay. Let's say that within the list, within the first list, we want to see the number of times that maybe copper, aluminum, or any of the elements within the list occurs. So we do this by, say, the variable dot the method, which is count, and which of the item within the list we are checking. Let's say we are trying to see the number of times copper appear within the list. So if you run we got an error that x is not defined. Is because we need to start running from the first cell. Okay, if you're now running, you'll see that copper appears 4 times within the list. Let's take another example. Let's check the number of times that aluminium appears within the list. 4 times equally. Let's try another one. Let's say trash. The number of times that we're going to get trash each time it goes through the shredder. Let's say the x, the variable, the method, and trash. Okay, so we only get trash once. So that is how you can use the count method. It just gives you the number of times that a specific element, the frequency of a specific element within the list. Let's try to use integers. Let me add another cell. Let me just insert another cell below here. Let's say that we want to check the number of times that a specific integer would appear on the weight list. So we say y, which is the variable, which let's say 3 for instance. So you'll see that within this list the frequency of 3 is 1, so 3 appears once within this list. We are going to look at the sort method. In the sort method, what happens is that it gives you the possibility to be able to rearrange different elements within the list in a particular order. If these elements are strings, it gives you the possibility to arrange them in an alphabetical order. And if they're numeric, for instance, if they're integers, it's going to rearrange the elements in an ascending order. Let's take a few examples and see how this is implemented practically. I will copy the this list that we created, and let's see. How this works. Okay, let's say we want to sort this item, so it will be the variable, the method, which is sort. And if you now run this, if you run the program, you'll see that now the different elements within the list have been rearranged in an alphabetical order. Let's do this for this list, which consists of integers. I will just copy this and we see how this works. We want to sort the different weights, so it will be the variable, and the method should be in lowercase, the method, and if you run this, you will see that the different integers within the list have been rearranged in an ascending order. Yeah, have been rearranged in an ascending order. Let's say these were separated. Sorry guys, I got a bit distracted, but it's okay. So let's continue. So if we are sorting the weights, yeah, all right. So if you sort the weights, you see that the different elements within the weights have been rearranged in in an ascending order. Okay, so let's see how the reverse method works. With the reverse method, what happens is that the first item, that is the list, is rearranged such that the first item becomes the last and the last item becomes the first item. So that's basically that's the basic idea behind the reverse method. I'm going to copy this list that we had, the list of elements that we prepared before, and see how use here so that we can see how the reverse method works. Okay, so let's say I want to reverse the elements, or I want to reverse this list, the X list. So it will be the variable that the method, which is reverse. And if you now run the program, you will see that okay, the first element has become the last and the last element has become the first. But in this case, you will see that in this list, you see that copper is the first element and is also the last element. Let's give it more clarity by, let's add another element here. Let's say we had maybe plastic as the last. Plastic. Yeah, so if you run this, it's going to give it more clarity, because if you have copper as the first and also as the last element, then it might not be very clear. So if you now run the program, you will see that plastic is now the first element. Plastic, which was the last element or the last item within the list, has now become the first item, and then copper, which was the first item, has now become the last item. So that's the basic idea behind the reverse method. With the clear method, the idea behind the clear method is such that you're able to wipe or take off all the items within the list and keep it maybe empty. And how do we implement this practically? Okay, maybe before I go to the clear method, I can show you how we can also use the reverse method using a list which has integers. It is also possible for you to have a list which has both integers and strings. We will see this in our subsequent lectures, but here let's see how we can implement or how we can use the reverse method in a list where the items are integers, or only integers in this case. So it will be the variable reverse, the variable and the method reverse. And if you now run this program, you will see that the list has been reversed. So 5, which was the last item, has now become the first item, and 2, which was the first item, has now become the last item. So let's now see how the clear method works. With the clear method, what happened is that, like I explained just a couple of minutes ago, that it's going to take off all the items within the list and keep the list empty. Let's see how this works. I go back to our element list and copy it, and so I can show you how this works. And I paste it here. So let's say we want to clear this list, so it will be the variable, the method. So if you now run X, you see that the list is now empty. Let's do this for this particular list. Let's do this for this for the wait list, in which we have integers. Okay, so if you want to clear the list, it will be y dot the method, which is clear, the method which is clear. And if you now run this program, you see that the list is now empty. So this is how you're able to use the count, the sort, the reverse, and the clear methods of the list data type. And these methods are very important, like they are actually going to help you when you're navigating through your advanced data science projects. You'll be able to use these methods effectively. So understanding this basic concept is it's very fundamental, it's very important. So we've come to the end of today's lecture, and in the next lecture we are going to look at some of the generic functions. This will be the last part of the list data type, where we'll be looking at some of the generic functions of the list data type before we continue to the other parts of this module, which has to do with the other advanced data structures of Python, like a tuple, like a dictionary. We're also going to see how we use some of the different methods of the tuple and the dictionary, and also the set. And when we conclude that, then we will have, when we do that, we would have come to the end of the module. And we also members of the Jacob Tech Institute are also grateful to the trainees and the students who have been able to give us their feedback, and we really appreciate your feedback. We also thank you so much for viewing and subscribing to the Jacob Tech Institute YouTube channel. We are also very grateful for viewing some of the videos that we upload to the YouTube channel, and there is more on the website, so you can always go back there and check it out. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next lecture.